Hello there, Harry Linden here from Lakeview Consulting. Welcome to the second installment of costing in MYOB. Today we're going to look at standard costs. So what is it? Well, let's go and have a look at it. So MYOB defines standard cost as the default tax-inclusive purchase price of an item. So if you remember from our earlier video, the default purchase price of an item was in fact the actual cost. So now we're looking at standard cost. So why do we use it? Well, one reason to use standard cost is if you have a fixed price supply contract from your supplier. You can then set your prices within the item, and when you then raise a purchase order, those prices will actually come up based on that item. Another example is to calculate the profitability on your stock items. Say for example you want to add other costs that are not necessarily in the purchase price, such as landing costs for example. So you can then set your sell price based on the total cost and your margin. Okay, so what I've got here is a standard costing sheet that you would use when you're doing a build sheet for a finished product. So what you see here is your purchase cost including GST and the purchase cost ex GST, and down here we've made some calculations, and this varies from business to business of course, so these are just examples. Landing costs say 20%, labour 10%, so a total of 30% overhead recovery. So in each of these cases where we've got the purchase price with GST and without, I've added 30%, so that is 1.3% of 400, and that is 1.3% of 333, and so on. So as you look at all the components of this finished product called Cooler Bundle Large, you're getting an Inc. GST total cost of 1241.54. So that's what it's going to cost you to build that item. So that now gives you a starting point to work out what your sell price should be. So it really depends on what your expected margins are. So obviously, let's say for example, here we might say we add a 50% margin, so that's another $600 say. So if we add 600 margin, okay, well, okay, that's not, let's change that to a number format. So number, right, and so we have a potential sell price of that plus that. Okay, so that could be your potential sell price. So that's your margin, and that's your sell price. Okay, so that's how you would work out what you should be charging for your sold goods. Obviously, everybody has a different expectation of margin, so this is just an example. So let's go and have a look at how that actually works in MYOB. So the first thing we do is have a look at the item list and just check that the prices that we've set up in here are correct. So at the moment we've got no stock, so therefore no average cost. And if we look at the buying details, this particular one was CL 01, and it had a standard cost of 520 including tax. If we bring this worksheet back, that's exactly what it had. And rather than go through each one, these have all been checked by me already, so let's move on. So and we've got a sell price here of 710, but that's not what we're looking at today. We're looking at a build, so we're looking at the sell price of the finished goods. So these items here, the CL01, the FL01, the stand and the water, they're all components of the finished good called Cooler Bundle Large. So let's go and order some items first. So let's order 5 of each. So let's go to purchasing. No, before we do that, we go to our preferences and we make sure that standard costing is now turned on. Okay. You need to have that turned on, because otherwise what it'll happen is if you go into the item list and you look at one of those items, you'll if you haven't got it turned on, it'll look at the last purchase price, and if you haven't got a last purchase price, it'll put 0 in your default when you open up the purchase order. So because we've got it turned on, it'll now look at whatever is in this field here called standard costs. Okay, now as I said, the reason you would use standard costs is one of the reasons is if you've got a fixed price contract with your supplier, rather than having volatile prices over a period of time, you can put a standard price in here. That's one of the reasons. But the other reason is we also want to use this and see how it works out when the average cost is work out when you sell the product. When you sell a finished product, what happens with that standard cost. So let's go and open up a purchase order, and let's order, let's say 5 of each just to cover ourselves. And so we go to Mountain Spring, and we'll just ignore any other orders, and let's try that again. So we're going to enter a purchase, and let's go to Mountain Spring, cancel. Alright, so let's order 5 of CL, and you'll see it comes up with $520, which is the including price. Just make sure that that's inclusive. Let's go to the next line, and we'll order 5 of the FL large, which was 546, correct? And we'll do another 5 of the stand, and that was 157.30, correct? And finally we'll order some water, North Spring, and that was 18.24 including GST, correct? Alright, so we've got an actual cost here of 6,207.70 using standard costs. So I'm going to record that, and because we're doing a bill, it also receives it at the same time, as you know. So let's just record that. So we now have enough of those items to actually do an auto build. And as you can see, we've got 5 of each of those. Okay, so let's now do an auto build. But before we do that, we want to make sure that the standard cost for this item is 1241. So we're going to look at this item here, the finished good, and make sure that that is set to 1241 including GST. So let's do that first. So we go to finished good, and there it is. And we're going to set a price of 1241.54, and the sell price we said was going to be 1841.54. Okay, so just to confirm that, I'll just bring this up here, and okay, so 1841 for 54 was our sell price, and our purchase price was 1241. So that's all set. So let's do that. Now let's go and do an auto build, and we're going to build one of these. So let's do one build item, and if we go back to our spreadsheet, let's maximize this. We expect an ex-GST total cost of 1128.67 because this is our first build after starting off with a zero quantity, and we had to purchase items. So that's our first price. So that will stay static. That will stay static as long as all these prices in here stay static. Obviously, if these change over time and you change the standard costs for any of these items, then obviously this price will also change. Okay, so we're going to record that. Okay, so now if we have a look at the finished good detail, so we now have one on hand at that price. Now, as I said, if you change any of the prices of the components that make up this price, then obviously you're going to get a difference here. The average is always based on what the prices were at a point in time, and then it takes MYOB takes the average. So that's regardless of whether you're using standard cost or actual cost or last purchase price. Averaging is always used for costing. What your standard cost really is useful for, if as I said, is if you got fixed prices and you want to use that in your purchasing. But it does have an effect on what your cost of sales are when you sell something. So let's go and make a sale. Sorry. So let's go and sell this. So let's enter a sale, and it doesn't really matter who it is. Let's just, yeah, we'll do that. And we'll sell one of kit, and that was the price that we set. Okay, so we're going to record that. And then we're going to have a look at what the profit margin is on that item. So this is the one we sold, so let's go and have a look at that. And I generally go to the journal tab and work out what, so if we're looking at this one here, you'll notice that 1128 was the cost of sale, sorry, and 1674 is the sale. This is ex GST, by the way. So if you add GST to that, you'll get to that point. So the 1128 is, bring that sheet back again. The 1128 is your cost of sale, because we only had sold one and prices didn't change. So the average is still going to be 1128. And the sell price is 1841, which is that times 1.1. So if we work that out, 1674.13 times 1.1 gives you 1841.54, which is what we said in our calculation over here. Well, thank you for watching this second installment on MYOB account right costing. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. See you soon.